So now we're going to keep the momentum going, and upcoming this session is going to bring us into the exciting worlds of virtual environments under the themes from building information to digital twins, unlocking the power of virtual environments. So we're going to explore how building information modeling, or BIM, has evolved beyond static models into digital twins and even immersive metaverse platforms. So these events are reshaping the AEC industry by enabling dynamic 3D environments that support interactive education, early problem detections, remote collaboration, and a lot more. So together, they're not only improving efficiencies, but also unlocking new possibilities across the construction landscape. So first of all, I would like to invite our distinguished speakers to come up on stage. So can I please invite Mr. Leo Liu? Please come up here. Let's give him a big round of applause and welcome Leo. And also Surveyor Yujun Chan. Let's give him a big round of applause and welcome YC. So before we kickstart this session, let me give you a brief bios about our two speakers. So right next to me, we have Mr. Leo Liu. So Mr. Leo Liu is the Chief Technology Officer of Gammon Construction Limited. And with his leadership, Gammon has been at the forefront of digital transformation in constructions, using advanced technologies to deliver smarter, safer, and more sustainable projects. So welcome, Leo. And our next speaker is Surveyor Yujun Chan, so Head of Spatial Data Office at the Development Bureau of the Government of the Hong Kong SAR. So Surveyor Chan has been leading efforts to make spatial data more accessible and useful, building a strong foundations for innovation across industries and communities. So welcome. So now I'm going to kickstart the sessions by asking the first questions, addressing to Leo. So Leo, I know you have been applying digital twin technology in real projects. So can you please share with us the use case of building a digital twin for the new Cyberport 5 development project?
Sure. I think Cyberport 5 is probably one of our marquee projects. We use quite a lot of technology besides digital twin, of course, also BIM as well. I will say that this project is probably a bit special because of the Cyberport being a tech hub. But at the same time, I will say that the use of digital twin has not fully realized its potential. And kind of coming back to today's session about digital entertainment, I actually believe that digital twin can be extended to gamification. And I think a lot of gamifications can apply in constructions all the way from planning, design, to construct, of course, to operate as well.
All right, so actually it's quite surprising. I actually never thought that digital twin, because I've emceed a lot of different kind of construction conferences before, and usually I always hear this term digital twins in those events, but I never thought that actually could be also applied into gamification as well. So I would like to further ask more, what are the key uses and practical benefits of digital twin in this context?
Well, let me kind of jump directly to gamification a bit more, right? So when we talk about planning and design, I think the beauty of a simulation or virtual world is that you are able to do a lot of ABC testing without costing too much. Some of the simulations is actually almost impossible to do in a physical world, especially for construction, because that would be way too costly to do. But with the virtual information that we have, then we can do a lot more simulation before we start a construction. That can be more sustainable, can save a lot of costs, potentially save a lot of time as well, and also make it more livable, right? So because a lot of time when we talk about buildings, ultimately someone is going to live there or work there, right? So how can we make that better experience for everyone?
So digital twin actually do give out a lot of benefits, a lot of pros in that context, safer, also if more cost effective. So I'm going to thank you very much, Leo, for giving us a fantastic note about how digital twins are shaping our flagship projects. But then, of course, for digital twins and virtual environments to truly create the values, spatial data is the bedrock that they're relied on. And then that's bring us to our next speaker, YC. So YC, I know the government has been making spatial data increasingly available through recent initiatives. So could you please tell us more about the scope of this data and who can access and use it, and the applications, whether in education and training, early problem detections, or enables new modes of collaborative work?
So I think everyone will appreciate that. Everything happens somewhere, and you need to know where, right? So what we are doing is trying to get the most fundamental data sets available for public use, for different sectors to use. For instance, the maps, the 3D digital maps, and plus other data from other sources like other departments. And then they can pin onto the map and then share with others so as to create the fundamental data infrastructure for digital twins. Otherwise, without that, it's not really the digital twin. So you mentioned about what data is that. We have now available over 1,000 data sets from 60 government departments, standardized, and in different sectors. For instance, transportation, buildings, lands, planning, and other social demographics data. All these kinds of data are now available for you to pull it and overlay it onto the map. And not even 2D, but also 3D or 4D, because we've got time elements as well. So for use case, we have some, because today is gamification. We have a very good example is someone is making use of our LiDAR data or terrain data and plus other transport data like the road marking, like the road and other street furniture to create a car racing game. This is very interesting, and you can, and actually, that startup is one of the, to my understanding, is one of the Cyberport's companies, startups.
All right, thank you very much, YC, for sharing. So I think since I'm actually not in a profession in engineering or construction, would you kind of maybe give us like a little bit more, like using a more layman sort of for our audience to easily understand, like how is spatial data used in digital twin?
So in gist, our common spatial data infrastructure is the spatial data supermarket. You just come over to our website, you just type CSDI, then portal, and you can get into it. And if you have any problem, we have a geospatial lab in Kuntong. We have some people around, and which can give you some hints on how to use it as well.
Thank you, YC. So how about Leo? Do you have any more additional remarks about like so that our audience can know more about?
I mean, spatial intelligence sounds like a very sophisticated, advanced technology, right? But if you think about it, when I got my speaker badge and I need to come here, right? How do I come here? There's actually somebody took me here. Otherwise, I will probably get lost for 20 minutes, right? This place is huge. That type of spatial information, how can we take a much better use of it? Because we know how this building works. We know where to get to point A to point B, but how can we make that information a lot more useful? In some ways, I think spatial intelligence in AI is still in the early stages. The reason for that, if you think about a kid, right? How long does it take for a kid to learn about spatial intelligence? It's actually only about a year. Because I have a 1-year-old, I know, right? Because before he will fall off the bed and kill himself, right? But now he knows, right? Now he knows to lay down first. Why? Because he knows that he will fall down. He'll hurt himself. It hurts. He doesn't like to do that. So there's a understanding of how this world works, okay? For AI today, it's actually not so easy. It's very intuitive for human to understand how this world works. But for AI, in some ways, is very difficult because they live in a virtual world. There's no gravity. They have to learn gravity. Okay? But by learning all that, the beauty of AI or technology is that it can learn much faster. I mean, my 1-year-old might be very smart at 10 years old, right? But AI after 10 years probably will be 100 years of intelligence. That's how fast I think technology will evolve in the next 10, 20 years.
So thank you very much, Leo. So would you like?
Yeah. If you don't mind.
Okay, so let's take a look at our slides.
This is a HKSAR Awards organized by our Geospatial Lab, and I wish you all can join us next year. This is our 3D digital map. Leo just mentioned about the intelligence. We also got the indoor maps for 1,000 buildings. And very importantly, is the 3D pedestrian network. As Leo just mentioned, intelligence is actually, you take it for granted, but actually it is some kind of data. And this is the game I mentioned to you. They make use of our 3D data to create the terrain and to get one-to-one true terrain for the game. And it's 4D, right? And because with the spatial data, we can recreate from the old pictures into a 3D Hong Kong before. Making use of the latest technology, latest maps, and the old aerial photos, and recreate it in the 3D, plus the information. That is the intelligence. So this is another showcase. We create the Kowloon City by making use of the old photos. That's spatial intelligence. Okay.
May I just add one more thing, right? So for construction business, it's not a very sexy industry, right? Not a lot of young people, like say, after I get a college degree, I want to go on construction site to move bricks. That doesn't sound very, nice. However, young people love to play games. And games actually has a lot of spatial intelligence. What if you actually build a real building by playing games? And there's a SimCity, there's actually a lot of games, right, about building smart cities, all that. But of course, it's in a virtual world. But I do believe in less than 10 years, the line between virtual world and physical world is going to get very blurry. That means that you can play a game and actually build a physical building down the road. And you need all this information in order to do that well.
And actually, our data is not just for game. Most of the data is coming from different sectors, for instance, from the construction sectors. So I think that you mentioned about the blur. I think the different professional, different sectors, it's not so discrete nowadays. They overlap. And the physical world and the virtual world is also like that.
So I think both spatial data and digital twin, not only just in construction and buildings, actually could be applied in a lot of different daily use, like gamification is one of them, transportations, all these others. So thank you very much, our gentlemen, for giving us wonderful insight. So we can actually see how digital twins and spatial data are really transforming ideas into actions, from enhancing real-world construction projects, just like Cyberport 5, to empowering industry and communities with collaborative immersive platform. So as BIM continues to evolve in digital twins and virtual environment, the potential for the innovation across the AEC industry is massive. So now can I have everyone, let's give another round of applause to these gentlemen. Thank you very much for sharing with us.